Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Audio copies of this can be downloaded at the Draw In Customers website. Just click the podcast link, you got it there. We are underwritten locally by the Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. And today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Mark and Sonya Plavkan, owners, I should say, of Twsited Fitness Gym. So Mark, Sonya, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Great.
I'm excited to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Because one, I just love the whole wrestling fighting thing. Fitness is a big deal that I think a lot of people, arguably most, take for granted.
Yeah.
And it's a rough business to be in, so I feel like we can learn a lot from you guys.
Yep.
So let's start at the beginning. How long has Twsited Fitness been around?
As a business?
Formally since about 2006.
All right.
I believe, 2005.
2005 is
Okay.
when we officially formed Twsited Fitness.
Nice. We're talking ballpark 16, 17 years, something like that. That's a long time for any gym.
Yeah.
That's a long
Yeah.
time for any business, really.
Yeah. That was kind of a culmination of some other businesses coming together.
Okay. All
We
right.
started earlier than that and just kind of ended up kind of coming together. And
All right. And were you two together when you started the business?
we met.
We met in 1999.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
was working as a chemical engineer.
Oh, wow. Okay. There's 180 from
Right?
Surprise.
Yeah, right.
I was working as a chemical engineer in the biotech industry.
All right.
And had always been into health and fitness.
Yeah.
Started lifting weights in college, but had grown up on a farm, so
All right. That's
went to
lifting
college
weights.
and needed to do something to not, gain weight when you're used to that much exercise in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find something to do. So started lifting weights in college, and then when I was working as an engineer, I started teaching some fitness classes on the side for something kind of fun
All right.
to do, and really enjoyed it. Enjoyed working with people, enjoyed helping them be healthy. Started doing some personal training as well.
All right.
And one of the things that they had asked me to do at the gym that I was working at was teach a cardio kickboxing class, because the cardio kickboxing craze had hit
All right.
Tybo, Billy Blanks, if
Yeah.
anyone remembers all of that. So I wanted to be true to the art.
All right.
So I went to a martial arts academy to learn some traditional Muay Thai kickboxing.
True to the kickboxing, so you're not just doing the
Yes.
jazzercise. With
Right.
bigger kicks
I didn't
or-
want to be disrespectful to
All right.
traditional Muay Thai kickboxing.
Fair,
So I
all
thought I
right.
should really learn the art if I'm going to teach a cardio kickboxing class. So I sought that out, went to a martial arts academy to start training some Thai boxing. And there was always this other class going on in one of the other rooms that, just looked like a bunch of guys rolling around in what looked like, pajamas,
All right.
kimono style thing, and didn't know what it was. But one day my Thai boxing coach said to me, "Have you ever thought about trying Jiu-Jitsu?"
Oh.
I'm like, "No." He said, I think you'd be really good at it. So I ended up in Mark's Jiu-Jitsu class. That's
Oh,
how I got
nice.
started in
All right.
Jiu-Jitsu.
All right. And
So that's how we
Jiu-Jitsu,
met.
how long have you been teaching Jiu-Jitsu?
Going up, at
That was
least-
99, so
Yeah, I did my first jiu-jitsu tournament in 1998. I know that. So
Wow. Where you were part of it.
competing.
yeah, like competing.
Okay.
That was the first time I competed in jiu-jitsu was 1998. I started doing judo when I was a young kid,
All right.
and so I had done judo through some of my young life, and then got back into that after I graduated high school.
All right.
But I was really more interested in learning jiu-jitsu.
Over pursuing judo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Judo. I mean, I appreciate judo. I got a good foundation from that, but jiu-jitsu is just it's so much more mentally challenging
Okay.
to me than judo.
All right.
That I really appreciated that aspect of it. So
All right. Tell me, because I'm vaguely familiar with Jiu-Jitsu. I guess I took a lot of classes, but I wouldn't call myself an expert. And I'm sure a lot of people could kick my butt as far as that goes. But judo, I guess I don't know much about it all,
Yep.
other than seeing competitions. And it seems like a lot of competitions, there's so many rules
yeah,
that, like, I'm more Krav Maga I liked because
Yeah.
it was more no rules.
no rules.
Like
Yeah.
they don't. I don't see a whole lot of competitions with that because it's dirty street fighting.
Yeah.
And I no disrespect to judo. I love the sport of judo. They're an Olympic sport. They have a committee. They would continue to year after year kind of modify the rules. And it just wasn't as interesting to me to compete under that
Okay.
many rules and that kind of rule set.
All right.
Not that jiu-jitsu has rules, but I found my way to jiu-jitsu through the early UFCs and
All right.
the mixed martial arts. Back then they called it Ballet Tudo or no holds barred.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so but watching people fight and watching jiu-jitsu conquer.
Yeah.
And then just going, man, I'm going to learn this stuff.
All
It
right.
looks really good, and it seemed very similar to what judo was, but more.
Okay.
So judo and jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is what we're talking about. They both came from Japanese jiu-jitsu. They were just kind of spawned off of that.
All right. They just
So,
evolved in their
yeah.
own different way.
I mean, the original jiu-jitsu was that samurai everything, right? So now you have kendo, which is the sword fighting aspect of it. You have judo, which is the throwing. Aikido is a different kind of throwing. Those all kind of spawned off of that because, at some point you didn't need to kill people anymore because
Right.
they weren't warring times, and so they just preserved them as martial arts. So judo and jiu-jitsu are very similar, but
Okay.
jiu-jitsu is better in my opinion.
All right. Fair. Totally fair. So you're teaching classes, and you guys get together.
Yep.
Which one of you said, "Let's start a business"?
I had left my engineering job and
Okay.
I was still teaching fitness classes, had gone back to school for massage therapy, thinking that would be a nice,
Massage.
yes.
So you got chemical engineering and then massage.
Yeah,
All right.
left engineering
That's
to,
diverse background.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
But I thought, I just didn't see myself in the corporate world for the rest of my life.
All right. Fair.
So thought massage therapy, working with athletes would be a great tool set as well as personal training and teaching fitness classes.
Okay.
So I was working at the old Gold's Gym, if you remember the Gold's Gym that was
Yeah.
back in the day, Highway
Right.
30 and Stoughton Road. And when they closed down, Mark was still teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. At that point,
The world's kind of aligned.
I had rented a building from my old judo coach, so he had bought a
Oh, you
building
did?
on
Okay.
Atwood Avenue,
All right.
and I took a small business loan for about $20,000 just to buy some mats and flooring and all the other things to start. It was pretty minimal,
Nice.
but that's I kind of had that going. And then she started teaching yoga there.
Okay.
And it was, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
It was an
I
old
was-
building and
Working a full-time job at that point in the auto industry, and I didn't have an apartment, so I lived in the back of that building illegally.
Hey, you play the game,
I
right?
couldn't afford apartment, and we stayed there. We slept in a twin bed, us and a dog, in the back of this cold building, and we would turn the heat off at night so that we could run it during the day because the utilities were expensive.
Right.
So we tried to keep the heat on during the day when we ran classes, and so that was kind of the idea. Was just every cent that I earned at my job went to that.
Wow.
So it was kind of
All right.
I've invested a lot of my own money into that.
Nice. How did you get clients into that new business then?
A lot of it was word of mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't. There's no real internet advertising at that point. I mean, this is late '90s, early 2000s, right? So
All right.
you're talking. There's no YouTube or anything like that yet.
Right.
There's nothing.
Social
and
media is not
yeah,
really
no,
there,
I
yeah.
mean, there's
No.
really there's
The
no
phone book.
Facebook, no anything. Yeah.
phone
Back then
book.
it was still the phone
we
book.
had an ad in the phone book after a while. That
Yeah.
was probably the first big advertising we did.
All right.
Yeah, and it would seem insane to what you would pay for that. Like if you went back and showed people like.
I mean, I remember
ads.
for a $1 bill size ad in the phone book, it was $1,000 a month.
Oh, stupid money.
yeah,
Stupid
stupid
money.
money because it was the only advertising that you had. There
Yeah.
wasn't really.
I remember I had a job wrenching on printers, and it was a decent gig, but it was mom, pop, and a couple guys, including myself.
Yeah.
And I remember getting so frustrated because I'm like, these guys don't even have a Yellow Pages ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, can you imagine saying that now?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and then like once a year,
Yeah.
right?
That
So
was
this
it.
is
You
this
put
is
it
your
out.
Hail Mary pass
Yes.
every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you put it
what a
out,
mess.
That's it for the year, and you pay for it, and that
Hope
was
it
it.
works.
I made some flyers and would try to go to
Yeah. Down on
tournaments
campus.
and pass stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah, go downtown to walk down State Street after a while and just hand out.
Anybody fighting that was losing, you're like, hey,
Yeah.
I got
You
I
need
got a little
jujitsu.
something for you here.
Yeah. Yeah, just passing them out like I do like, hey, here's a free trial lesson, and just walk and hand them to everybody. And
All right.
and I mean, it was a lot of legwork. You get one out of every 1,000 back that you put
Right.
out there. Most of them probably ended up in the garbage, but.
Yeah. So when you first started this, did you do any numbers to figure out how many people you need as clients?
Yeah, I mean, so I took that SBA loan, that smallest, and I still actually have that business plan at home. So I've kept
Nice.
it. Yeah, it's awesome because I hand wrote like 3 years of projections, for the.
All right.
That's why they gave me the loan. When I went in, they're like, we've never had anybody really prep like this for that.
I was just gonna say you had a business plan for a gym. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard of that before.
No,
Which is it's smart to have one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of had, and this is what I need to increase in membership every month, and this is what I need to increase in,
All right.
retail goods, uniforms and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But
So just so I understand the timeline here, at that time you were teaching Brazilian
Yep.
Jiu-Jitsu,
Yep.
but there's no other classes, no other instructors, anything like that?
No.
I was teaching yoga.
she
When
was
I came
teaching
in, I
yoga
was
there.
teaching yoga.
Okay.
Yep, and then we'd try to bring other programs in and out to see if anything would fit, other people that wanted to use the space for a while. And then we ended up moving probably in 2004, 2005.
Five.
Okay.
To a smaller space on East Washington Avenue.
Yeah, the building owner wanted to sell the building. And
Oh,
it was not,
gotcha.
Yeah.
It was not in our budget, and it was in the considered historical building as well.
Yeah,
So
so the guy that
renovations
bought
would've
it had to
been-
do an insane amount of renovations, and there's
Right.
no parking too. It's on Atwood Avenue, so there's no real parking in that area.
Yep.
It's nice, but as far as foot traffic is good, but
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
parking's rough. So we rented this little space. It was like half a building on East Washington. It was probably 500 square feet, and then there was a basement.
All right.
And we built it out, so we painted and did some drywall and had a couple bathrooms and had some change rooms downstairs. She had a massage room
room.
downstairs,
All right.
and then just a big room upstairs we could train. And
Nice. So
Yeah.
when you moved your business,
Yeah.
a lot of times businesses in the fitness industry, you move, change addresses,
Yeah.
even if it's next door.
yeah,
There's some attrition. Clients take a
Yeah.
walk because, oh my gosh, change.
yeah.
So did you end up losing any clients or?
At that point,
No,
we
that
did
move
pretty
was-
well. That was a good move for us.
Yeah,
It
it was a
really
good
was.
move.
It was a little smaller space, more affordable, but it allowed us to kind of put
Okay.
forth a little more effort into doing all that. At this point, I'm still working full-time job.
All right.
She's doing massage therapy. She's doing the books for the business as well. And then we're just teaching classes and.
All right. So are you at this time? Are you bringing in enough money to think about getting rid of the full-time gig?
No.
No.
Not
No.
yet.
No.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No. So this is still pretty early on. And
All right. So you're still essentially subsidizing the business to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you believe in something, you do that.
Totally.
And it was one of those things where, I mean, jiu-jitsu and MMA, we're doing a lot of MMA at that point too, the mixed martial arts. It wasn't that big of a sport yet, but
Yeah.
you could see there's energy to it, and I believed in it. I believed those things were going to be much bigger than they are. I don't think people that get into, take the, mixed martial arts now, and they don't remember a time when that was an underground sport. I mean, there was
Right.
banned in places, and you had to go to these places to watch it, and I went to some of the early UFCs, and there was maybe 2,000 people there. I mean, it was
Oh,
just
wow.
tiny. These,
All right.
yeah, people throwing bottles and stuff, and it was,
It was
rowdy.
that.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
I
Yeah, I
just-
went.
it's Patrick Swayze Roadhouse.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. There was we went to one, and the final fight was really bad. Like some guy got gouged in the eye, and they just called it, and all these guys just everybody's throwing bottles. Everybody just turned into craziness.
Wow.
Yes. But it was, I mean, you saw the energy there, and there was something to it.
Okay.
You knew it was going to be bigger than what it was at that point. You had to see that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guys that got in on the ground floor at that time, and they did pretty well then.
All right.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
So it's interesting to me to hear about people starting businesses, especially in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But I really love hearing stories about people starting stuff in the martial arts, or I want to say fighting, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Yeah.
But I was watching a biography on Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
and he's talking about you'll never see a rich kid get into fighting.
Yeah.
It's always the poor kids. Now,
Yeah.
I was a poor kid,
Yeah.
and it sounds like you were a poor kid. I don't know. It's just
Well, I wasn't a rich kid, that's for sure.
it's just the way the cards are dealt, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at fighting and MMA stuff, UFC stuff that's really growing.
Yep.
Or it was growing. I guess
Yep.
I'm not sure if it is now or if it's kind of plateaued.
Well, it's probably still growing a little bit,
Okay.
yeah, but
And then I look at, you don't see a whole lot of kids that are like farm kids or anything like that.
yeah.
Is fighting attractive because we just have this innate
Yeah.
fight in us that we
Yeah.
just want to fight and we really don't have a means to do that out of
Yes.
necessity? So now you do it more out of just desire?
I've always thought that.
Okay.
I think we've always kind of thought that, things like jiu-jitsu, where you're wrestling and you're putting people on the ground, and we're, it's not aggressive, isn't really the right word, but that's something when you watch little kids, they do all the time, and now we tell them not to, and I think
Right.
that's just what we did. I think kids have always done that, and they need that. I think young men especially need outlets for that. I think that's important, and it can be structured in a way that helps them figure that out positively.
Right.
Because I think it's like you said. I think there's this instinctual part of us that we have that in us. We have to. We always have. We're as a species, we've survived a long time through a lot of stuff, and we wouldn't do that if we weren't fighters.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're so like, I was reading stuff about World War II, Civil War, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like there's this innate
Yeah.
battle that people just want to fight.
Yeah.
You want to conquer and all this kind of stuff, and you can't or you shouldn't.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there has to be an outlet for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
I mean, I think when you look at all sports, especially contact sports, yeah, you could say the same thing about professional football. I mean,
Right.
Those guys go out and they beat their bodies up pretty hard, but it's for that glory of combat and victory that they want, and
Yeah.
it's I think people need that, and I think to deny that is not good, because I think sometimes you get surprised. You bring people into the martial arts world, jiu-jitsu especially, and you say, look, it's a little weird at first. We're
Right.
throwing each other around, and but they get into it, and they're like, I understand why people like this. I understand why people do this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that especially, when we had to shut down for COVID, I mean, there's people that's just like, man, I can't go without that. They're like, this is what I need to.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I can imagine.
Mentally, this is what they need
Yeah.
to survive,
Oh, it's totally an outlet.
Yeah.
Totally an outlet. Yeah, it's probably the best drug there is,
Yeah,
right?
right,
Your
right.
own
Yeah.
endorphins and all that
Yes,
jazz.
Yes, endorphins, adrenaline, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
But it's also
great.
physical contact. It's
Totally.
touch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people were missing that during COVID, and they don't realize how much they crave that physical touch with people, even though it might be deemed, it's a combat
Yeah,
sport.
right.
It's still
Yeah.
touch. We're
Yeah.
putting
Right.
hands on each
Yeah.
other.
You're pinning them or getting pinned, but it's still, I get it. There's an energy there.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
That is cool. It was interesting. The first few classes that I took, I think the one that I got really involved in was Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because beginning of class, you're like, hey, what's going? You're all best friends.
Yeah.
End of class, you're all best friends. But in the middle of
middle.
class,
Metal.
like it's just shy of blood being drawn.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a girl, she's pretty built, and she's holding this bag for me to kick. And I was like, I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah.
And she's like, you won't hurt me. And then we switched bags, and she was punishing that bag to the point that she was almost lifting me off the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we're
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just go around and have fun like that.
Yeah.
And talk about a release, though.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Love it. I
So
don't
much,
think,
so much fun.
yeah, I don't know if everybody understands that when they're doing the jazzercise type stuff.
Right. Right.
No offense to the jazzercise crowd, but I don't think it's the same
Right.
instinctual release.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
still good for you and all that kind
It
of stuff.
provides in so many levels. I
Yeah.
think, like she said, the touch, the maybe getting out a little bit of that aggression in a positive way.
Yeah.
Or stress relief, all those things. It's healthy. I mean, you train jiu-jitsu, and it's like you're so worried about, getting choked or getting arm locked or you keeping this big guy off you, and all of a sudden you stop and and you're breathing hard and you're sweating. You realize you're having so much fun.
Yeah.
You don't realize how hard you just worked out until you get done, and then you realize you're,
Oh my
soaked
gosh.
with sweat, and
I would
it's
get
a
in the
blast,
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting in the car, my shirt is soaked.
Yeah.
I'm like, this smells like ammonia.
Yeah. Right.
It can't be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, right. But you can't stop smiling. You know
No.
what I mean? You get done with that and you can't
No.
stop smiling.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Getting back to the business, when you guys moved your business to East Washington, made major thoroughfare.
Yep.
Did that help? Signage and all that kind of
Little
stuff?
bit. I don't think we ever had a sign up, did we?
Oh, no.
Maybe, maybe like a little one. And there was like a glass door in the front, so we had like a little sign up.
No, we had a sign.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right.
We weren't there that long. We
Yeah.
were there maybe a year and a half, and
All right.
Ford's gym was looking for a new location because they were demolishing his
Yeah.
building,
Current
and
location,
he asked if we were interested in sharing space to try to
Okay.
kind of do something together.
Yeah. And that's
so
when
that's-
Ford's was on East
They
Washington.
was
were
on
on
East
East Wash.
Wash.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yep,
both
in
worked
Milwaukee
out
Street.
there, and it was just kind of, it all kind of came together. Where
Yeah.
he had to move, and we wanted to move. We were that space was very small, and we had definitely outgrown that space. So
All right.
it was good. A good
In the
time
short
for
amount of
us.
time we were
Yeah.
there, we had outgrown the space.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
so it was a good, good time to move and an upgrade for us.
All right. And so at that time, you moved to Ford's gym, went on to
Winnebago.
Winnebago.
Winnebago. Okay, so a few blocks from their old space.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just worse parking.
Yeah, the parking situation was never the best.
Was
but
that that was quite a bit bigger, wasn't it?
where we moved into Fort?
Space-wise, yeah.
Space was
Yeah.
was
Okay.
bigger.
Space-wise,
yeah, nice.
it was big.
nice.
And when we first moved in, there was a lot of parking there, so it was a
All right.
pretty decent spot.
And then did you end up getting clients from Ford's gym? People that were going to lift?
A few.
See you guys? And
Yeah, I think it kind of worked both
And
ways.
vice versa,
We
yeah,
had-
he got
Okay.
a lot of clients of ours, because I think people that get into the martial arts want to do other physical activity and strength train and cardio, and so
Yeah, once you get a bigger guy on you, you want to be the bigger guy.
you're like, I need to go lift some weights
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
His technique is good, but
That
it
never
gotta be
ends.
strong. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people started working out at Ford's, and
All right.
we would get some people from Ford's that came up, but.
Oh, very cool. All right.
Yeah, they had the boxing program there, so some people would check out the boxing program, and they're like, "Oh, that's not really for me. What's upstairs?" And they'd see us, and they'd be like, "Oh, maybe this,"
Nice.
So, yeah.
And how long were you guys there?
13
13
years.
years.
13 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
All right. So how did the business change over that 13 years? That's a long time.
yeah.
We got more into competitive jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu. We joined the Alliance team, the team that we're part of now. We joined in 2000.
That
Late
in
2009.
Yeah.
All right. You have to help me with what is Alliance Jiu-Jitsu.
It's actually the top team in the world for competitive jiu-jitsu. So as a
Oh.
team, we've won more world championships than any other team.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's and that was for us, I think, because we've always been competitive. I like the physicalness of competition. I like testing myself. She
Yeah.
likes testing herself. But it was more than that. They have a great structure.
Okay.
So you kind of thought, you're like, well, we're going to join this team, and all these guys are going to be really tough, and this, and then you go there, and it's not like that at all. It's they have a really good program on how to start people from scratch. They have
All
a really
right.
good, just kind of for lack of a better term, a business model. They just understand how
So
to
a system.
teach jiu-jitsu. Yeah, a lot of them, and it was impressive, because you see a successful team, and you're like, yeah, they're probably just training hard all the time. And
Right.
No, they had a structure. They had systems.
Curriculums for their
Yeah,
classes.
it was really kind of eye-opening because I think at that point there's always been especially in jiu-jitsu or MMA, it's like you can have I don't want to say they use the term McDojo. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
Have you ever heard of that? Right?
No, but I understand.
You get it, right?
I kind of get the idea. Yeah.
Kind of. Okay, you can have this place where you just kind of go through the motions, and you'll probably make a lot of money because nobody's going to get hurt, nobody's going to do, but they're not really going to
No.
push themselves. They're not going to learn anything. Or you just have this stable of really tough 20-year-old dudes that are just trying to kill each other all the time, and that's not healthy, and it's
Right.
not a good business model. And they'd figured out how to have all of it. They're
All
just
right.
like the cream will rise to the top kind of mindset where look, if you have 500 people in your academy, 50 of them are going to be really awesome, you know?
All
Or you
right.
can just have 50 awesome guys that don't pay the bills, right?
Right.
So it was a good system, you know? I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. So we added in their curriculums right away.
All right.
That stuff. I mean, we grew so much over that 13 years. It was when the time came to leave, it was kind of a no-brainer because we had outgrown that space.
Nice.
We had went from having a few classes a week to multiple classes a day.
All right.
It was at that point, 2008, I believe I left my full-time job.
I was just going to ask you.
So-
Okay.
So it was until 2008. So it was, a few years into that really
Yeah.
where and even at that point it was a big struggle. So
Okay.
I made that choice mostly because I just kind of had some differences at my other job where I felt like I wasn't appreciated, and it
Sure.
seemed like the,
Okay.
corporate restructuring stuff. You're
Right.
like, well, if I can starve on my own, I don't need to.
2008,
I don't need to
that
work
was a
another-
rocky
yeah.
time for a lot of businesses.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was, and so.
Were you at the same job since you
Yeah.
started and all that kind of stuff? So you had longevity and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff there.
Yeah. No,
And
and I liked the people I worked with and the job itself. It just
Yeah.
kind of came to that point where, like I said, there was a lot of that corporate restructuring going on, and there's pay cutting and things like that. And
Oh man,
I was like, I can starve without working for somebody else. If I'm gonna, I might as well work for myself if I'm gonna starve.
Yeah.
So
Well, and at the time he was, getting up at 5 in the morning to be at his other job, to work all day, to
All right.
get done around 4 o'clock, to then come teach all night until 10 o'clock at night.
worked
Oh,
all
you
the way.
can't
I
do
worked
that.
all the way out in like Middleton on the west side,
Long
and the
days.
gym's on the east side. So we
Yeah.
lived on the east side. So it's half an hour, 45 minutes, both there and back, both. So it was, hour and a half of
Yeah.
my day right there.
All right.
And it was getting to be rough.
time.
Then I would train all night, and it was hard to get out of bed in the morning, go to work the next day.
I was going to ask you, were you the two of you the only trainers at the time, or did you bring on other?
At the time we were.
Yeah, we were running most of the classes, and then we've had a very organic growth with our student base. Where now we have a lot of instructors that are people that have been with us forever
Okay.
that are teaching for us as well.
All right.
Which is great because that's, I think, one of our goals. That's what we always wanted.
So I wanted to ask, when you're teaching all day,
Yeah.
that's going to be physically demanding for you.
Yeah.
On top of the whole business,
Yeah.
the stress of that,
Yeah.
you're still going through this.
Yeah. A very
it's
physical job.
Running or showing them, like that's a lot of physical
Training with
work.
our competitors,
Yeah.
so training with the
Yeah,
students.
our
and-
normal day is we get up in the morning and we try to get our workout at like our physical workout, so like weightlifting, and then we teach classes most of the day.
All right.
And she has massage clients sometimes and doing other business stuff,
Yeah.
book work, whatever, all the stuff they don't tell you about when you want to own a business.
Yeah, right.
and our last class of the night is the competitors training, so that's the hardest training of the night.
All right.
So we do that, and we get done usually, but we're done by like 9 p.m. But
Oof.
it's a long day,
Wow.
So,
That's what you're doing now?
yeah,
Oh,
still doing it. Yep.
I'm thinking that's crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I guess if you love it,
Yeah, and I feel I don't ever want to stop moving.
right?
I want to just keep going. My body will tell me if I need a break, but
Right.
I try to keep going. She tries to keep going, and just
All right.
I've always felt if you can keep a pace, you can keep a pace. You know? But if you stop, all of a sudden getting started again.
Oh yeah, game over.
You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
have a surgery, you have something, and all of a sudden you're like, man, just to get back to that status quo again is tough. So
Yeah.
if I don't have a real good reason to stop, I don't want to stop.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
So you also have other instructors as well?
Yes.
No,
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you find them or convince them or?
A lot of
them.
them were students,
So a lot of them were
students of
students.
ours that we've,
Okay.
Yeah.
mentored and brought up to
Do-
to be good coaches.
Do most of them come to you and ask if they can teach, or do you reach out to them and ask them to teach?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Usually they've kind of let us know at some point that they want to
Okay.
teach, and we've over the past couple of years especially, when we moved from Forge to our new facility and we expanded a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
that's really when we had to bring on extra people because there was
Okay.
no way we could do it ourselves.
Right.
In Forge we had a small, so we were in his gym, so we didn't have to maintain the gym. his
front
locker
desk
rooms,
or the
all
locker
that stuff.
rooms.
We just had our space. We had to run our classes, pay the bills. you
Yeah.
know. She had a massage room up there, but that was about it. And then when we built this new facility, so we built this facility, we opened in October of 2019.
You say you built it?
Yes. So this is the one on Rethke now.
From scratch?
Yes. From a bare lot.
From an empty
Oh,
lot.
wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this was kind of the culmination of this almost 20 years of,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Holy
So-
cow, that'd be a huge undertaking.
yes. Yeah. I think more
It's like, yeah.
more than most people probably would ever know, because, we're not developers.
Right.
We're not, so, as small
Contractors,
business owners trying to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we found some property. That took us over a year. That was contingent on the sale of another property and, all this
Right.
stuff. And then you have to get environmentals done and building permits and
Mm-hmm.
plan approvals. And so, we were lucky to get a good contractor,
All right.
somebody who really helped us out. And that just kind of, all kind of fell into our lap. It was
All right.
almost like it was
But so many decisions, we had.
Oh, my gosh.
We had this little jiu-jitsu academy,
Yeah.
Thai boxing, and found this piece of property and had to make some decisions about what is it we want to do with this piece of property. Are we going to build a small jiu-jitsu academy, or are we going to go bigger?
Yeah.
And
it
we ended up
started
going.
smaller.
Yeah,
and
it started
just
smaller.
just kept growing.
All
so-
right.
Well, because we wanted to do all the things we love
Sure.
doing, right? You
Yeah.
love lifting weights, so why would you want to go somewhere else to lift weights when you want to lift weights? You want all
Right.
your students to lift
And
weights.
she and I had been working. We've worked in you name a gym in Madison, and one of the two of us has probably worked at it over the years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been in quite a few. So,
All right.
we both worked at the old Gold's Gym. That
Okay.
shut down now, and that place was kind of a. Were you ever in that gym?
I was
The one
not.
on Highway
They
30? Yeah.
built that from scratch, right?
Yeah.
And not too far away from your place now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean
That was quite a building for a gym.
It was insane.
amazing.
I mean, it was really awesome. It was, and it was ahead of its time. I think fitness wasn't even that big of a thing back then. And now there's gyms everywhere and 24-hour gyms, and you name it. So he's kind of ahead of his time, unfortunately. I think
Yeah.
yeah. But it was we took that kind of inspiration from that and decided we want to do some stuff. We want to do more physical fitness stuff as well. Plus, a lot of our students were going, well, I don't want to have multiple memberships anywhere. Are you guys going to put some gym equipment in? And that's how it started. It was just like, are you going to put some
Hey,
gym equipment?
you're going to spend hundreds of
squat rack
thousands of
and a bench
dollars.
press, right? At first you're like, we'll put a couple some free weights and this, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it just kind of kept going and going, and
All right.
yeah.
What made you decide to build versus find a building?
I mean, we looked at buildings.
Yeah. We had looked at some different buildings. There was one building that we looked at. The realtor that was listing it was a friend of mine, and he
Okay.
said, well, this building has an offer on it. It's contingent on some things. I have a feeling it's going to go through. But the owners also own that piece of property right across the street. It hasn't hit the market yet.
Oh,
Have you thought about building?
all right.
And we hadn't until then. So then all of a sudden it's like,
And that
Well, wait a
sentence or
minute.
that question
Yeah.
cost you how much money?
Yeah. Yeah.
$2.3 million.
Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's a nut and a half. All right,
Yeah,
that's
for,
a healthy.
for the property, all
property
the
and-
construction, the equipment,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
that went into it. Yeah.
Oh, I totally believe it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That's
no,
just. Oh my gosh.
You never think it's going to be that much, right? You're like, oh, we can
No.
build a building, what? A couple $100,000.
Yeah.
I had a
It,
business.
it
Construction's
started small,
expensive,
like I
yeah.
said, and it just kept.
Just snowball.
Yes, yes.
I had a business partner in residential remodeling, and he's like, every job, you got to figure 1.5 to 2.5 times what it initially starts at,
Yeah.
because there's going to be stuff that you find that you didn't know was there, and then there's going to be, well, while you're in there,
Yeah.
do
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and it's just
Oh,
snowballs. So
that's-
when I see someone putting up a business building, like a commercial building,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're adding zeros.
Yes.
Right, $40,000 turns to $80,000. Life goes on.
Yeah. It quickly
A
goes.
million turns into 2-3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now we got we
Yeah.
got some work to do.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
initially we were planning on somewhere around probably $1 million,
All right.
and it went quite a bit bigger.
kept
Yeah.
up.
Just kept going. So
All right.
Then there's
But-
always part of you that if you're going to build, you want to do it right.
Right. You don't want to do it again.
You don't want to
Yeah.
do it again.
Not
You want to
anytime
make
soon.
sure it has everything that you want. So, we
All
were
right.
able to build something that
Yeah.
18,000 square foot facility that has a CrossFit gym, a gym, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai kickboxing. We have, a seating area, like coffee shop seating area for people to hang out before and after
wow.
classes.
Yep.
Physical therapy room, 2 massage therapy rooms, a private lesson room.
Did you say 18,000 square feet?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's a grocery store.
yeah, it's a giant place.
That's
Yeah.
a beast. All right.
It still doesn't seem big enough some days.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy.
we
It's like,
should have
it's
gone
just, you know,
bigger.
we-
We should have
yeah,
gone
you-
bigger, yeah.
You build it up and you put everything you want in it and you kind of lay it out and you still realize you could always have more space. you know,
Yeah.
But,
Right.
but we got a decent parking lot too, which was important to us.
Mm-hmm.
We're running out of parking at the old spot.
All right.
The building is great. Like I said, our contractors, I don't know if I can mention them,
Sure.
Hoff Construction, phenomenal. Just, I couldn't ask for anything better. We'd actually talked to some other people first, and they were like, we're building in Madison. And they're like, no, I guess it's hard to build in Madison, as we figured out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but Hoff stuck with us the whole way and did a phenomenal job. And I really just can't say enough good things about them
right.
because having never built, having never gone through any of those processes, I mean, it's nice to have somebody that can kind of hold your hand.
Are they based out of Madison?
I think they're in
Mount
Mount Horeb. So
Okay.
they did, if you know Vortex Optics,
Yeah.
out in Barnabelle, they built their
All their
facility.
facilities,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
I just happened to have this kid walk in one day and had a Vortex Optics hat on. And I go, oh, that's cool. And started talking to me. He's like, oh, my friend's mom is building the place. And I'm like, that's weird, you know? So it turns out that his mom's best friend is one of the contractor and his wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So we made the connection. And it's kind of random, but we ended up,
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I legitimately couldn't ask for anything more.
Well, they're
so,
afraid if they didn't do it well that you guys are going to
Yeah.
come around and
yeah.
pay a visit.
Yeah, right. So they bring a lot of people by to see the place. They're real proud of it too. You know,
Nice.
That's one of the things that really stuck out is that you have somebody that's not just like, I'm just throwing this building up for you. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to bring people in here and show them. They brought they were doing something else. They brought an architect through and just show them what they did there. You know, and you know, all the stuff that's in the gym and how
Oh,
it's
that's
laid
cool.
out. And the guy's like, man, this is really cool. And you know,
That's awesome.
so, yeah, it's yeah. If they're proud of it, obviously,
Yeah.
you know,
All
you
right.
know they did a great job. So, and it's a great building.
All right.
And then, with COVID, last August was our first real year open when the CrossFit Games were here.
Oh.
So we had a
I
lot
was
of
just going to
CrossFit
ask when the
Games
building actually
athletes.
opened, but that's
Yeah.
a
October
October
2019.
2019, but
All right.
then
And then-
2020 they didn't come. The CrossFit Games didn't come because of COVID.
yeah.
So last year was the first year they were back for the CrossFit Games. So
All right.
a lot of the CrossFit Games athletes were finding us, and
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
it was cool to hear some
Yeah.
of them come in and just rave about the building and how amazing.
Like, oh, I've never
the
seen a gym
facility
like this. This is
was.
awesome. You guys got everything, you know. And,
Nice.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, so that
cool.
was
All right.
really
But
cool.
yeah, that was I mean, we opened in October 2019. I had to shut down about 5 months later.
I was just going to say, talk about
after
pretty
the,
much
after
terrible
it-
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably a 2-year plus process.
To get it built.
And I don't think, honestly, and I don't want to put this negatively, I don't think I've ever been as stressed in my life as I was over those 2 years.
Fair.
Even those first, years of living in the back of the place and everything else, but this was kind of the culmination of that.
Right.
And you're dealing with, you got to deal with the city and all the building. You've got to deal with financing. You've got to deal with, you name it. There's so many moving parts to that.
Mm-hmm.
The land that we had the offer on had contingencies, based on the sale of this other property. So we didn't even know when this was going to go through.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah,
and you're just kind
timing-wise
of
and-
trying to kind of line everything up so that it'll fall into place. And
And at the same time, all that construction had started around Ford's gym, so we lost all of our parking there.
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, so
We're
it
just
was
like,
so
yeah, we
hard to get
gotta-
to our
yeah.
facility the last year we were open, and business was kind of
Right.
doing this
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because people couldn't find parking.
Yeah.
And
it was-
so that was stressful.
yeah. So we managed to, we got through, got it open, and then nobody saw COVID coming. So I mean, that
No.
was next level crazy.
That was a
but-
left hook.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just like,
you
wait,
know,
what?
but you spend years and years like, this is what we're gonna do, and you're open for about 4 months, and that happens, and you're like,
Dang.
yeah, it was kind of a kick in the teeth, but
Yeah.
we're still here, so
So how did you guys struggle through that, or how did you guys just figure it out?
I just did whatever we could.
We just don't quit easily.
Yeah.
Just hard work.
Fair.
Yeah.
You know, just a lot of hours, a lot of work, just
I always
grinding it out to get through this until things turn around.
Yeah. And I think back to, you know, where we came from, like living in the back of that building and freezing at night and sleeping in a twin bed with a dog and, you know, the whole night, and you're just like, I'm not ready to quit. This all led to this, and it's not, you know, not something I'm going to give up on very easily. So
That's awesome.
And we pivoted in some ways. You know, you transition, you find other ways to make revenue.
Yeah.
We've both done more personal training, more coaching, Olympic lifting, and, you know, found
Fair.
used other skill sets.
yeah.
Well, you just adapt, improvise, and move
Yep.
on, right?
Yep.
That's the name of the game.
It is,
Right,
yep.
right.
So, from a marketing standpoint, what are you guys doing now to bring awareness, let people know you got this awesome building?
Website, social media,
Okay.
you know, we do some advertising.
Okay.
You know,
Not
Google-
Yellow Pages.
Google. No, yeah, right. Yeah. I remember the last couple of years they were still trying to fish for that.
Yeah.
They're like, it's this. I'm like, it's not that.
You still need to be in the phone book.
I can
No, I
put
don't
something on
think
the
I do.
internet right now.
Yeah.
You know, like so. It took them a couple of years to figure that out. I know they're
Right.
kind of going like, what are we gonna do? You know, but yeah, it's no, it's you know a lot of social media. That seems to be the big thing
All right.
for everybody.
Gotcha. And is this something you guys do, or do you have to outsource that?
No, I mean we do most of it, you know.
All
So
right.
we do most of the social media. I probably don't keep up on it as much as I should, so it's been a struggle. It's like we're juggling so many things right now. We're in that spot where, you know, you reopened, and then obviously people have heard there's, you know, like labor shortage. It took us a while to kind of get the right employees in place, and things are really starting to move in the right direction
Yeah.
now. But yeah, it's.
Let's talk about employees really briefly.
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of time, but I imagine you've been around for a long time. Now you got this huge facility.
Yeah.
So you got to staff it.
Yeah.
Is it tough to find people?
It's been challenging.
It's been challenging.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it
sure.
more finding instructors or finding front desk people? or
The front
Front
desk.
desk.
Yeah, it's you know, you walk in and there's Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, weightlifting. We have USA weightlifting, so that's Olympic lifting. We're a USPA powerlifting.
Oh, wow.
You know, yeah, we're
Strongman.
United States Strongman. You know, affiliate. So we do these things that you have to know, and so you have to get people in and be like, hey, you got to learn all about Strongman. You know,
Right.
you got to learn all about powerlifting. And
All
some of
right.
these guys don't know, you know, what some of this is, and so it's tough, I think, because people call, they got a lot of questions, and there's a big growth curve learning in the beginning.
All right.
So that's what's tough, I think, is, you know, there's a lot of the specialty stuff we do that people need to get familiarized with, but we've lucked out and we've got some really good people now, so
Nice.
pretty happy with it, yeah.
All right.
So, and we have we're still growing, so all the people that come to work for us have so many opportunities to grow their own, you know, some of them maybe want to personal train and they can get into that. And so,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
yeah, like we try to say, hey, you know, you start here at the front desk, but look at this place. Like there's something we can do here. So
Right.
figure it out. You know
Where
what
do you
I
wanna
mean?
go?
You come to me and you tell me what you want to do and let's figure it out and try to give them the room to really grow and excel, you know,
Nice.
so they can personal train and they can learn, you know, whatever it is.
I remember hearing with CrossFit Games about just the term CrossFit and how you had to pay a nut
Yeah.
to be able to use that.
Yeah.
And I imagine Strongman's the same thing.
Yeah.
How do you, or what is the process to get approved,
Yeah.
apply, pay, all that stuff for all these little affiliations?
Yeah.
I
Depends
shouldn't say
on-
little. they're-
Yeah, it
some of them are
depends
pretty
on the
big, but-
affiliation. Some of them aren't too bad. Like with CrossFit, we had to be level 1 certified
Okay, what does that
CrossFit
mean?
coaches. Means you have to go do a weekend course and you have to pass a written
Okay.
exam. That wasn't all that easy. It was
No,
yeah.
yeah.
You know,
And
So you
it's
prove you know
people
what you're
failing
doing.
it, yeah.
Okay.
And, it's
And then
costly.
you can
Yeah.
apply for that was $1,000, and then you
Oh,
can
wow,
apply for the
okay.
affiliation,
All right.
and it's it's over $3,000 a year to be a CrossFit, to use the CrossFit name, to be
All
a
right.
CrossFit affiliate.
And does that get you anything other than
You get
being
to
able to
use
use
the
that
name.
word?
You get to use the name.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we do all our own programming and stuff, so we don't get any. I mean, they have stuff like that you could pay extra for, but
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's CrossFit is. I mean, they've grown into a pretty successful business. So I'm not
Yeah,
trying to rag
sounds
on
like
their game plan at all, but they definitely, And CrossFit isn't the biggest part of what we do. It's just something we offer. So for
Right.
us, we minimalize the costs we put in there, and we, like I said, we do a lot of our own programming so that we don't have to do, pay for any of this
Right.
excess stuff. And
But you do, to be part of all those organizations, you pay money.
Yeah.
Even the Alliance
Yeah.
affiliation, we pay money to
All right.
get programming and
Well, at least they give you a
services
T-shirt.
and yeah, they do provide coaching and curriculums and things like
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Yeah, it all costs money.
God, I imagine when you get a
does.
lot of them, a couple,
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of money, but when you get tons of them, you got
Yeah.
to figure out if there's a market.
yeah,
Right.
Yep.
You have to decide if it's worth
yeah,
the use of the name,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it takes
if it
time
brings
to
you
grow
something.
those programs. too.
Okay.
Yeah. So the strongman, that's something very niche. There's not a lot of people that do strongman.
I was just going to ask you, how do you find clients?
So, but people
There are
find
people
you
that
if
do
you
it, yeah.
do
Okay.
strongman, because there's not a lot of places that do strongman.
All right.
Yeah. So if you have all
We've
the
been lucky.
Atlas
Yeah,
stones and the
yeah.
logs and the axle deadlift
gotcha.
bars
We
and the
got all the
circus
equipment.
dumbbells, if you have all that equipment, people seek you out
All right.
for that
And-
specialty stuff.
Again, our big goal. I don't want this to be lost in all the other stuff. Our big goal was always to have, all those like strongman is like a community. Like those guys, I mean, they know each other. They
Yeah.
go to the competitions, and it's like you watch. And CrossFit's the same way. You watch these people compete. And if you've ever watched CrossFit or strongman or anything, it's like as soon as somebody's done, they're standing there cheering on the next person,
Totally.
even though it's their competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they all know that suffering, right, happens together. It's the same thing, like you said, when you're training the Krav Maga, you're training Jiu-Jitsu, and kind of beating the crap out of each other. But afterwards, you're smiling, and you're there together. The suffering happens together. And our goal was always to build a larger community of those communities.
All right.
And that's like what we want to have is this. I want the strongman to ask the jiu-jitsu guys, oh man, you got that tournament this weekend. How's, is that?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we really try to, and that's one of the big roles that we try to play in there is just, I try to introduce people to other people and get people to
Bring the community
cross streams
together.
a little bit,
Yeah.
and just kind of see, bring the community together a little bit, because we're all there for fitness and for health, right? That's why we do what we do. And that was the important part of that facility is like, look, we're all going to get better here.
Yeah.
We're all going to get better here somehow. And so embrace that, help each other, support each other.
Yeah.
Have that good vibe. So
People
that
just
everybody
working
feels-
hard,
yeah.
just trying to keep getting after it, even
Yeah.
as they get older or,
Yeah.
have some injuries that they have to rehab, whatever it is. We just want
And
a
we got
community of
so
people
many cool
supporting each
people
other.
because we have that vibe. I mean,
Yeah.
our members, we have some of the coolest members. I love that.
Nice.
So that's why I enjoy being there every day. And she
All
enjoys
right.
being there every day. It's like we have so many good people there that I couldn't ever imagine not showing up and opening the doors for those guys.
Oh, it's this pride thing. That's awesome.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That is super cool.
yeah.
I always wondered, I guess to me, there are a lot of gyms, I feel like you could just have a couple exercise bikes January, February.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
all you need is a sign.
They just want you to keep paying. They don't
Just
want
keep
you
paying.
to. They don't want you to actually use the gym,
Yeah.
and we want people to use the gym.
I
We
can't
want
tell you
them
how
to
many
be
people
there.
I know that have memberships that don't use them.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just hope.
Yeah. And
Right.
I'm not happy unless the gym is busy. I'm not happy.
Right.
unless there's something about you're training upstairs and you, because we have our jiu-jitsu areas upstairs, it's raised, but you can look out over the gym and
Oh, nice.
there's guys carrying stones or there's guys lifting, deadlifting and benching and
You
just
can feel that energy
There's
of
an
everyone
energy.
working
There's an
hard.
energy to that when people are just in there working hard and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
That's cool.
That's the dream,
Yep.
So
That's awesome. I want to ask you about the logo.
Yeah.
There's that kind of red face guy.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
One of our
Years,
old
yeah,
jiu-jitsu
years
students
back we
drew it.
ran a contest to design a new logo for Twisted Fitness,
Nice.
and one of our students actually hand drew that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and
Awesome skill.
you
He's
know,
a good-
after like an Indonesian mask, like a tribal mask, and everyone loved it.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
Yeah.
we thought when we moved, we thought, should we change the logo? Should we make it a little more simple, or I don't know? And we're like, that's what people know us
Yeah.
by. Like, it's kind of cool.
It's definitely recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's recognizable.
And it's,
and
it's kind of cool looking. It's kind of mean looking, but it's not like a skull and crossbones
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing or anything.
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah.
too menacing.
We just decided, it's been our identity, and we wanted to keep it. And then we had the guy that did our graphic arts, our logos. Because he made a logo for CrossFit.
Yeah.
It's actually the same face. It's just
turned into a lion.
Instead.
Oh, nice.
The hair is
And
still
then
the same, but it's the lion's
There's one for the
mane.
kickboxing, and it's just a guy kickboxing, but the hair is the same. So if you look at the logos, they'll match. It's kind of
All right.
He took that face and kind of. He did a great job. It was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, these are perfect.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Very
Hard
cool
to find.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How can people find you guys? Let's talk about first location for the people that aren't necessarily familiar.
So we're on Rethke Avenue, 711 Rethke Avenue. So that is right off of East Washington, and it's kind of near the corner of Highway 30 in East Washington.
Okay.
So if you were on Highway 30, it's across from the Department of Corrections.
All right.
There's a new nightclub there, the Crucible, that just opened not too long ago.
Okay.
And we're right there. Yeah. So.
Gotcha. All right. And then website?
TwistedFitnessGym.com.
Yep.
Well, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
And phone number? Do people call?
Yeah, I still do. 608-241-9007.
All right. I'm quizzing you guys here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. This is cool.
You.
You have a
That's
cool story.
great.
Thank you.
I love it. 18. So from 500-ish square feet to 18,000.
Yeah.
That's a no twin mattress anymore.
Yeah.
No.
No, not at all. So,
That's awesome. Thank you guys for being on the show.
thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We're locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com, as well as Draw In Customers Business Coaching, offering business coaching services for entrepreneurs looking for growth on the web at drawincustomers.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur in all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guests, Mark and Sonya Plavkan, owners of Twisted Fitness Gym. Can you tell us your website one more time?
TwistedFitnessGym.com.
Awesome. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. The podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening and watching. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.